everyone, it's Ari, and today I'm going to do the Unpopular Opinions book tag. Which, disclaimer, I know it's much hated, but nonetheless, I'm sorry if I offend you. I'm probably going to offend a lot of people, but this is not an attack on you as a person, but just my personal opinions, which might be faulty, but they are mine. So let's just get into the questions. The first question is a popular book or a series you didn't like. And I have a book that is so incredibly popular, but I was so let down by, and that's Sadie by Courtney Summers. And I know a lot of people love this book, especially the audiobook, but I don't get the hype. I read it in Norwegian, so it might have been some translations issues, I don't know, but I can't seem to understand why it's so beloved. We follow Sadie, who is hunting down her sister who has gone missing, and then we also follow a radio host who is hunting down Sadie to see what she's been doing. But I don't get why it's so interesting. I thought it was kind of boring, and I thought the story was not engaging, so maybe I expected too much after it's been hyped up so much, I don't know. But yeah. And another book I unfortunately didn't like is Red, White and Royal Blue. And I'm probably hurting a lot of people now. But yet again, I think I had too high expectations, or I didn't have the right expectations. I expected a really cute love story between the Prince of England and the president's son. However, I thought it was a lot more political than I expected. I didn't really like the political aspects of the books. I had hoped for more fluff, perhaps a bit more angst, but not the campaigns and all the things around. That didn't really interest me. So I'm sorry, but I unfortunately didn't like Red, White and Royal Blue by Keith McQuiston. A popular book or series everyone else seems to hate but you love. And I know this book, some love it, some hate it. I think it's either or. But Caraval by Stephanie Garber. I really, really liked Caraval. I liked the entire series, but I especially liked the first book and the last book. Tell a Story, the second book, I didn't think was as good, but enjoyable. But I liked the concept of Caraval. I liked Julian. I really liked Julian, and I liked Julian with Scarlet. I liked her dress, the magical dress she had. I liked the setting. I really loved the carnival setting, and the magic and the deceiving and everything around it. I really loved it. I thought it was really fun, a quick read, an engaging read. I just always wanted to flip to the next page and continue reading, and that's a sign of a really good book to me. But we essentially follow Scarlett and her little sister Tessa as they escape from their abusive father and goes to this magical circus or carnival that's traveling around, and it's deceiving and magic and a game, and nothing is real. But then Scarlett falls in love with Julian, and we're discussing some things about Julian, and there's mysteries, and it's really good. And the price of the carnival, the thing they're supposed to find is Scarlett's sister Tella, because she has been taken. So Scarlett is also trying to save her sister, and it's really good. I really like it, but I know that some people despise it, so it's either or, but I really liked it. A love triangle where the main character ended up with a person you didn't want them to end up with, or an OTP you didn't like. I'm mostly vibing with love triangles or the person is supposed to like, because I often feel like the author is just throwing in another option without any consideration, just for the drama. However, I am kind of iffy about the love triangle from Delirium between Alex, Lena, and Julian. I'm not sure I agree with who she ended up with, mostly because the person she ended up with wasn't as kind as in the beginning, and I felt like the other person stayed really sweet. So I don't know. Another love triangle I didn't, or the Delirium, by the way, is kind of a more old school book. It's set in a world where love is a disease, so when you get 16 you're supposed to be cured of love, so you can't really love anyone. But then Lena meets a guy, an older guy called Alex, who hasn't been cured yet, and she falls in love with him, of course, and they decide to escape together, or at least she wants to, and they are kind of just exploring these relationships, these feelings, but Lena is also at the same time really afraid because her mother was deemed insane because she got the cure, but she didn't ever stop loving her father, so she always had the love in her, and because of that Lena is also kind of an outsider and always trying to prove that she's righteous and she's following the rules, and she isn't like her mother, even though she loves her mother really much. And the next love triangle is Night School, and this is a love triangle between Ali, Sylvan, and Carter. And the Night School is yet another kind of more old school book, but it's set in an academy where Ali is sent. And Ali is our main character who has been arrested and a lot of times, so she's sent there by her parents to kind of improve herself because they don't want to deal with her anymore. Her brother has escaped and it's some family secrets and everything, but then she attends this school and she gets to know a few boys. She gets attacked. She gets involved with a secret society in the school. It's 5 books, and I feel like every other book she switches between the love interests. So first there's Sylvian, then there's Carter, then there's Sylvian, then there's Carter, and it's exhausting. Like, pick one, please, don't. Why? And I feel like no matter who she ends up with, it was like a drag because I don't know, it's really exhausting switching between every other book. It was really annoying, so I just kind of grew tired of the love triangle. I didn't care who she ended up with, I feel like. Another is American Royals. I can't really say anything about this because I haven't read the sequels, but from what I've heard from the spoilers of the sequels, I wouldn't have agreed on the love triangles. And then I have one OTP, and that's Catherine and Heathcliff from Wuthering Heights. Why do people enjoy this couple? They're so toxic. Why do people enjoy this book? It's so toxic. Excuse me, why? No. One classic I don't agree with. No, sorry. A popular genre you hardly reach for. For me, this is graphic novels. I have a really hard time reading graphic novels, and I know it's really popular and kind of a palate cleanser, but I get kind of confused when I read graphic novels because I'm not sure in which way to read the textbooks and the pictures, the drawings. I kind of how I'm not supposed to read it, and I feel like I don't get that involved in the story when there's drawings, because then I can't really imagine the people by myself and how I would want them to be in a way. I feel it's more like a movie where you kind of get everything and you just have to read. You don't get to imagine yourself. But I know it's a really popular genre or format of books. But another is sci-fi. I'm not that smart, so I don't feel like I am smart enough to read sci-fi. I feel like it's kind of more too technical for me. And the last genre is horror. I've never read any horror, but I've neither read nor watched any horror movies, so I can't really tell why I haven't picked it up, but I just don't reach for it, I guess. A popular or beloved character you don't like? I had a really hard time with this question because I'm not really sure. But I wasn't too fan of Trish from Divergent. I thought she made really rash decisions. Even though she was a dauntless, you can use your head, I feel like. And she was too daunting, I feel like. And I liked the first book. I liked Divergent, but I didn't really like Insurgent and neither Allegiant. So, but in Divergent, if you don't know, we follow Trish, who, when she approaches her 16th birthday, I think, she is supposed to get elected to a fraction, because society is parted into 5 fractions, and she has to take a test, but the test isn't really clear to what she should choose. So she is a Divergent, and a Divergent is very frowned upon in the society because they're dangerous, because they can't be controlled. But she chooses Dauntless. She meets 4, who I actually like. I like their relationship. And then she discovers state secrets, of course, and corruption and everything else you meet in a typical dystopian novel. But the first book is really good. From there, I think it's just chill. But yeah. So that's that. Another character I didn't really like is Maddie from Dial A for Aunties. I think, again, she was really annoying, really thoughtless, almost like a chicken without a head running around in circles. I don't know. But this is a book that follows Maddie, who by accident killed her blind date. She takes the body home to her mother. Her mother calls her aunties, and they're supposed to get rid of the body, help Maddie get rid of the body. But then the body is shipped off to an island where it's supposed to be a big wedding, because Maddie's family is in the wedding business, taking pictures, making cakes, arranging, everything in between. So panic, because this body is in the hotel where a big wedding is supposed to happen, and then she meets her ex-boyfriend who she broke up with, but she still loves, and drama. But I didn't really like Maddie, sorry. A popular author you can't seem to get into. John Green. I read a lot of books by John Green. I liked one, I believe, and that was An Abundance of Catherines. Everything else is just meh. And I know people love The Fault in Our Stars. I didn't. So John Green. Another is B.A. Paris. I know many loves her thrillers. I think they're really boring. I don't think they deserve the hype, sorry, but I think they're really predictable. When I first heard about Behind Locked Doors, I was so excited because everyone was bragging about it. I read it and I was so disappointed because I could see that ending from the beginning. And then I read another one and it was the same thing. And then I read the third one and I just don't like her book so much. I'm giving up. Sorry. I don't know. Sorry. No. A popular book trope you're tired of seeing. Love triangle. Don't get me wrong. If a love triangle is good, I enjoy it. But as I said earlier, I feel like the author is just pushing in another person in a completely fine relationship to make drama. And what is the point about that? Because we all know who the main character is likely going to end up with. So I don't see the point. And then I neither like I don't know if it's a trope, but when the main character is so completely broken and don't feel deserving of love, so they can't ever get into a relationship and they can't love anyone. And I think that's kind of unhealthy description. I think it's I don't think we should portray that in books, mostly because I felt that myself, so I know it's a curse, but I don't think it's something we should popularize in a way. It usually ends good for this, but it's also annoying to read about. Sorry. A popular series that you don't have an interest in reading. Go backtracking to previous question. Heartstopper. A lot of people is probably going to hate me right now. I know it's a really popular series, but again, I can't seem to read graphic novels, and I'm so sad about it because I want to read Heartstopper. I want to join the hype, but I can't. I don't know, sorry. Another is Mistborn and the Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sandersen. This I don't have a good reason for, because the book sounds okay, but they're humongous. They're like 1,000 pages each book, and I've heard, and I'm not into that. At least not now. Not high fantasy, at least. Not now. So I think I'm just going to lay off Brandon Sandersen for a while. And the last question. The saying goes, the book is always better than a movie, but which movie or TV show did you prefer more than the book? The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. I didn't like the book. at all. I did read it in Norwegian. I have a friend who read it in English and really enjoyed it. So again, it might have been something with the translation, but I didn't like the book. However, I really like the TV series. I think it's an amazing TV series and really looking forward to the next season, which who knows when it's going to get released, but I'm really looking forward to it. But we follow a dystopian society where women is handmaids, and their only purpose is to birth children. Yeah. I don't feel like you need more explanation. Another series is Wisting. This is by Jørn Lee Horst. It's a Norwegian series. I really enjoyed the TV series. I also think it's been sent in the US with good critics, though I'm not sure. But I've seen the first season in Norway and I really enjoyed it. However, I didn't like the books. I've read or listened to the entire series, but I don't like the main character, especially in the first book, which I read physically, because we follow a police detective called Wisting in Bamble, I believe. I don't know. But he is kind of an older guy, and he's this dude who never does anything wrong, and he's so amazing, and he's so perfect, and the perfect officer, and everything. But then he's not. And he has a colleague who is female, and he is so afraid that she has a thing for him, and he can't have a thing for her because he is married. But then later he does something with her while he's still married, and he's just kind of contradicting himself all the time, I feel like. And I feel like he's annoying. I feel like he's kind of arrogant, and I don't like his vibe, so I can't really enjoy the series either, even though I've listened to every single book. But in the series, the television series, I liked him a lot more. It might also be because Sven Nordin, the Norwegian actor, is doing a much better portrait of him. I don't know, but that's my answer. So that's all the questions. I hope I didn't offend you too much. I hope you don't hate me or unsubscribe. Rather subscribe if you want to. But that was all for this time. I hope to see you next time. Bye.